conversation.
Fussy, who hired this crew?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong.
Show me the money!
Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Baby, you are so money and you don't even know it.
Yeah, I thought this was good.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Hello. This villain doesn't want power or money. She wants a coat made of puppies. Tonight we're talking 101 Dalmatians. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to 52/1996, the live movie conversation podcast, where we rewind the clock and dig into the films of 1996, one movie at a time, 1 week at a time. I'm your host, Cody, and this week, again, I am joined by the wonderful Alyssa as we break down the movie 101 Dalmatians. If this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome to the party. We're glad to have you. The idea is pretty simple. Every week for 52 weeks, we revisit a different movie released in the year 1996. We talk about its legacy, its vibes, performances, some trivia. We break down some categories and then talk about that a little bit. And then this season, we kick them off. We're kicking things off with a theme. We do these themes. Sometimes they last a month. Sometimes they're shorter than a month. But this time we are doing villain era for kids, spotlighting kids movies from 1996 that had amazing villains that stole the show. But before we jump into this movie, let's talk to our guests. Is this your first time watching 101 Dalmatians?
It is not. I've seen this one. I probably owned this one on VHS, I'm sure.
Yeah, and had you seen the cartoon version of this?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've almost every Disney movie. The clamshell, VHS, those are currently in my parents' basement.
Nice. I love it. This is actually a rare occurrence. You've seen one that I had not seen.
Wow.
Right?
I don't think I realized you haven't seen this one.
Yeah.
You told me and I forgot.
Yeah. I kind of remember them wheeling in the TV to watch this at one point while I was in elementary school, junior high, sometime elementary school for this, but I don't remember anything about this movie other than the animated one, which I do know pretty well. And like, I think as we were watching it last night, we were discussing like some of the feelings that we got like while watching the animated version of this, like specific scenes that stick out to you and that I remember really well. But yeah, this is not one that I had seen. So since this isn't your first time watching it, what do you think? How do you think you feel? How did you think you felt when you watched it back in the day, back when it came out? Big fan of Dalmatians, big fan of puppies. What are your thoughts on that? Because I can see this movie being marketed heavily to children with all of it, and we'll learn a little bit more about the merchandising and things like that.
Yeah.
I remember the advertising and marketing for this, so I'm eager to see what your childhood was like with this movie.
Yeah, I don't like I was a big princess girl, shocking to no one. Like really heavy on Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, stuff like that. And it's funny, we talked last week about Muppet Treasure Island. Muppet Treasure Island was like in my mind, a huge part of my childhood. Had no idea that this movie came out at the same time. I would have thought this would have come out later. It gives me, I know it's not only 96, but it gives me like the energy of 2001. So I don't know. I was kind of surprised that it was this year, but I think just movies with animals in it is very of the 90s. It gave me a lot of the same energy as Babe. Like, and all the movies that I'm listing, I remember way better than this one. Like I remember watching Babe. I remember watching Muppet Treasure Island. I actually don't necessarily remember watching this specific movie. I remember better the sequel, which I didn't realize until we watched this. And I was like, oh, I was waiting for one particular scene and it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because it's the opening scene for the sequel.
What is it? You can go ahead and spoil it
Yeah.
for me, because
So
I have no idea, and I'll probably never watch it.
that's fair. It's 102 Dalmatians. And the opening scene is uh, these like policemen or doctors or something who are like, oh, you got to come see this. And it is Cruella in like immersion therapy. And she is just covered in puppies, just Dalmatians. And she is like in love with them. She's like, they're so cute. I would never want to harm them. And then she like snaps later in the movie. And it's basically the same movie all over again. But it is like her, just Glenn Close covered in puppies and like just having them lick her face and her just playing with puppies in this glass room that's they can see in, but she can't see out, because it was very odd. But I thought that was like the closing scene, or like after the credits, and that was the opening scene of the second movie.
Oh,
But
okay.
I remember I had a 101 Dalmatians Game Boy game. I very specifically remember the McDonald's toys.
I think I remember the McDonald's toys as well.
Any Disney movie that had a McDonald's Happy Meal collab, I was in.
Yeah. And now I'm pretty sure that the McDonald's might have had two different runs with this, because McDonald's and Disney are kind of synonymous anytime something comes out. But like when the Disney was re-releasing their cartoon versions, I think they had just re-released 101 Dalmatians like a couple years before this. I think 92, because when I was looking up reviews, it was really hard because they were all showing like the reviews from the cartoon version of this instead of the one that we are talking about today, which is the live action one. Somebody in chat already said this might be the OG live action remake for Disney. You and I talked about that before we watched the movie. Like, is this truly the first one? I would say yes. What?
That was in my fun facts that I found. That technically, and you and I did talk about this, we would, and I think you and I would both argue that this is really the true live action remake. However, when in my research, The Jungle Book 1994 is technically credited as the OG. This is the second. This is the second live action remake. The Jungle Book 1994 is the OG.
But the difference is this one follows the same storyline as the classic 101 Dalmatians, whereas the Jungle Book one gives us a little bit of the original, but skips over to when Mowgli's a much older man for most of that movie, which who knows? Who cares? Honestly.
Yeah.
But right within here, we've done two of these live action remakes here with Jungle Book and 101 Dalmatians. I'll say, just spoiler alert, I like Jungle Book better than I liked this movie. But that's just, what we're up against here. So let's go ahead and break it down. Let's learn a little bit more before we get into the categories for our discussion. The movie's title is, of course, 101 Dalmatians. Fun fact, I keep spelling Dalmatian wrong every time that I type it out, and it ends in an IAN and not an ION. It's whatever. I just wanted to be honest with you guys, because that's what I'm all about, is honesty. This movie actually came out November 27th, 1996. Big Christmas movie, or Christmas time movie for the holidays in 1996. We're doing this a little ahead of schedule. It was directed by Stephen Herrick. We've seen him twice before on our podcast, both in 93 and 95. He did The Three Musketeers, which I think is 93. Yeah. And Mr. Holland's Opus, which we did last year. So two classic Disney movies, that live action Disney movies. He's kind of a studio director for them for a while. So Stephen Herrick is a Disney studio director. That's what we'll say. Now, this movie, interestingly enough, I did not know this, and you probably didn't know this until we were watching the movie, that this movie was written by the great John Hughes. most famous for his 80s movies, teen movies. Ferris Bueller, Breakfast Club, all those good ones. But this is John Hughes' written movie. He also produced it. It's based on the 101 Dalmatians book by Dodie Smith and 101 Dalmatians by Bill Peet, directed by Bill Peet from the 1960s classic cartoon movie. So written and based on those. Cast is actually quite small for this movie because there's just a lot of animals in this. Both computer generated and real. But Glenn Close is Cruella de Vil, our villain of the week. Jeff Daniels plays Roger Dearly. Jolie Richardson plays Anita. Joan Plowright, which we've seen before in Dennis the Menace. She plays Nanny. Hugh Laurie, or Dr. House, plays Jasper. Mark Williams, also known as Mr. Weasley, or Ron's dad from Harry Potter, is Horace. And then John Shrapnel as Mr. Skinner, or just Skinner. Don't remember him. But the synopsis for this movie, if you've not watched it, the dastardly Cruella de Vil chances upon a litter of cute Dalmatian puppies and decides that their skins will make her the perfect new coat. After she sends two hapless heavies to steal the dog, it is up to parents Pongo and Purdy to stage a daring rescue. Joining them for the adventure are their human pets and host of guest animals, including a cheeky raccoon and a helpful horse. This, I can't wait to talk about this. This movie had a budget of $67 million and a box office return of $320.7 million. This was the number 6 movie of the year in 1996.
That checks.
Insanity.
I
get it, but I don't at the same time.
I think it is. We talk about this. It is a Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is a remake of a classic. It is, you said, big Christmas movie. And I think, wanting to take your kids to the movies, it's rated G.
Yeah.
It's Disney's stamp of approval. You already know the story. It makes a lot of sense. That's a crazy number. That's a crazy number for this movie. For the quality that this movie is. But again, timing of it all, we talk a lot about how kids in the 90s, and again, we'll talk about later, the tie-in with the marketing and the
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think it helps that they did the re-release of taking it out of the vault or whatever 4 years prior to this. I think that really helps out because it, establishes a new set of fans to these movies. And then coming out with this 4 years later, I do remember the spots, and there being all those ads, whether it is McDonald's and all that, but that is a wild number to me. $320 million. I expect them to make a profit, maybe 100, 150, with a Disney property, especially for this time. But we're thinking I would be curious to compare this to what it would be today. I'm thinking this is $1 billion movie in today's. This is the equivalent of a Lilo and Stitch that came out last year. Maybe even a Zootopia, Zootopia 2 that came out and was already breaking records. That's what I'm thinking with this. That's that's crazy numbers that this is pulling in. So
yeah, I wonder what else was out at Christmas. Again, thinking if you have to take your children to the movies in December, what are your options?
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, this is a year that is filled with blockbusters, but a lot of blockbusters at this time are coming out during the summer. May to August is the biggest time of the year for those kinds of movies. Now, if we were to break this down, like you said, over the holidays, what was playing in 1996 at this time? I'm just doing a quick scan. One of the biggest movies that we'll see another Walt Disney distributed, not a Disney film that we would think of, but Ransom comes out in November, and that is one of the top movies of the time. Space Jam is coming out during this time. These are just some that aren't happening. Jingle All the Way, another classic movie from this year. trying to see here. I think they did a re-release of Toy Story, even though it had come out the year before. I think they just kind of kept it going.
Hmm.
So it's still out during this time and just doing numbers. And this is a time when they are releasing movies and leaving them in theaters. Like there
Yeah.
is no pulling, there is no let's go to Disney Plus at this time. So they're just letting movies sit in there and just stay for months on end, especially when they're doing numbers like this. So
Hmm.
yeah, so not like much competition. Like I said, Jingle All the Way, Space Jam, those two are probably the ones that are you're taking your kids to see, I guess.
Hmm.
But this one's the more accessible one. Like this is
Yeah.
G. This
Yep.
isn't the other ones are very hard PG movies, I think.
This is a, I'm thinking this is a very grandma movie. Like if grandma has the kids, this is what you're gonna go see. She knows who Glenn
Mhm.
Close is. She's
Yes.
not picking Space Jam because there's aliens and that's scary, right? She's gonna pick 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, I'm looking even further, like getting a little deeper within the calendar, and I'm just not seeing anything. So I think it's just kind of the perfect storm at this
Yeah,
point.
timing.
Timing and recognize like a story. Glenn Close is a huge pull for them. She's an Oscar nominated actress at this point, and she's really taking the bull by the horns in this movie and becoming Cruella DeVille. So
She
I think it's
is.
just a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Which is all surprising because the reviews of this movie were not that great. This has a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb has this at a 5.8 out of 10. Letterboxd sits at a 2.9 out of 5. Roger Ebert, consistent with his reviews from last week, gave this 2.5 stars out of 4. He said Glenn Close is a skilled actress and looks right for Cruella. I like the touch of having the gloves that have their own fingernails. She drives the snotty classic car, uses the long cigarette holder, strikes the flamboyant poses, and yet somehow she's only human. She isn't Cruella DeVille. No one of flesh and blood could be.
Mm.
So, yeah.
All right.
A little bit of a legacy. You already talked about the video games that came out of this. And the sequel 102 Dalmatians that comes out 4 years later in the year 2000. Also, not quite the same, but Disney did put out in the last several years the Cruella, like live action Cruella or origin story starring Emma Stone, which I think is really delightful and would recommend anybody watch that. It's got great costuming, obviously, from it, but like I think it's really good. So would suggest that. And then other things, Dalmatian sales. This is part of the fun facts, but Dalmatian sales. Anytime you put out a movie that has dogs or pets in it, sales of that dog are going to go up. This is sad though, because when more people get sell like these dogs, that means more people are putting them in shelters because they can't handle truly what those dogs become, especially a dog like a Dalmatian.
Yeah.
That's a hard dog to train and a hard dog to,
They are not kid friendly.
yeah, they're not very kid friendly dogs. They're cute as puppies, but you have to really, really train them. And people just aren't ready for that kind of commitment. So a lot of homeless Dalmatians in the 90s because of this movie. So not great. They might have ended up as coats. Who knows?
Oh,
What
sadness.
a weird coat that would be. We'll get into it. Let's get into it. All right, let's talk about let's talk about some of the scenes that define this movie that really pop out. What do you got for us?
I had meeting Cruella as like a first scene, but I really think the park collision is where it really gets going.
I agree. That's the first thing that I had written down here was the park,
Yeah,
and the chase scene through this all like
long.
Pongo. Yeah, long. This is a too long of a movie. That's me. I hate a long movie for hour and 45 minutes is too long for this movie. You could,
There's certainly some spots where we could have like edited.
yeah, good at it. Yes, this park scene is very long. Pongo sees Perdita and Anita across the park, falls in love instantly.
Love at first sight.
Love at first sight. There's a lot of that in this movie. And he pulls Roger throughout the park. Roger ends up in the pond, and then he finds his dog, or what he thinks is his dog, and starts hooking up Perdita to him, and then gets attacked by Anita.
Because she thinks he's trying to steal his dog.
That's right. Even though there's another dog, like there's two Dalmatians. Like, look with your eyes. There are two Dalmatians there.
Yeah. Also has two different color collars. Like one is definitely
one's got a penis. One's
he does check that out. He like lifts up her leg and he goes, "My apologies, man."
For the bit.
But it is funny. It is. I did say I was like, this is similar to the Golden Eye car chase that we saw a few months back. Just because it was ridiculous. But going through the streets of London, just being dragged on your bike by a dog, and then it happens to Anita with Perdita again, like just a moment later, and she ends up in the pond, and it is very fun. It's a funny scene. It's a meet cute. That's why they have to go back together to dry their clothes and get to know one another, because the puppies have fallen in love. The Pongo and Perdita are just little snuggly little buddies in the corner, and I'm just like, they are cute.
The dogs are cute. You know how hard that dog had. Like, I feel bad for that dog that's pulling them on their bikes, because I mean they've got those poor collars on. They're dragging them. I'm just like, oh my gosh, those poor dogs.
Yeah.
Stretching their neck, or like, it made me a little sad. Yeah,
that's a strong dog, though. I mean, I'm not saying, but that's why. I mean, there's a reason why they're using firehouses. That is a strong dog.
Yeah, it's a meet cute. This is their meet cute, and it is definitely cute, and they do meet. So
and they move quick.
And they move pretty quick. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
What else do you have?
That gets into my next scene, which is the puppies are born and the puppies are stolen.
So when we meet Cruella, the first time we meet Cruella is before the meet cute, right?
That's like the opening scene.
The opening scene is
because we get backgrounds on Roger and Anita. Roger is a failing video game creator, which is hilarious. And Anita works in fashion, and Cruella is her boss. And tiger stripes are in. That's what the whole line for Cruella's line this year is, tiger stripes, until she sees a drawing that Anita does, which has spots, which is inspired by Anita's dog. And Cruella becomes obsessed. So that's where we get the vibe of Cruella kind of being a psycho, being Anita's boss, being very involved in her life in a weird way too. And yeah, is like, I love these spots. Spots are in. We're getting rid of the entire tiger line. We're only doing spots moving forward. Which
you also have that like background news story that Roger's watching of the zoo break-in, where a white Siberian Bengal tiger has been taken away from the zoo and kidnapped. Yeah. And then we see that same tiger pop up a little bit later as a coat, which is
as a pelt. Yeah.
As a pelt, yeah.
Not even as a coat yet. It was just the pelt with face and all. That was jarring. Like, I forgot. Like, that is such a wild like thing to happen in the background, but it really does like show you how evil she is. Like, she is commissioning a hitman who's ironically and very funnily named Skinner to go into the zoo and kill and kidnap a tiger for her coat. That is a massive undertaking. This girl is rich for her to commission something like that. But I'm like, in what world would you like, you're like, oh, I need this as quickly as possible. Let's go to the zoo, as if your trail is not going to be tracked.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems very severe, and you don't get that in the cartoon movie that much. You don't get any of this at all in the cartoon movie.
No.
Anita doesn't work for her in the cartoon. She's like an old school friend. That's how she knows Cruella. Roger is a songwriter.
Musician.
Yeah, he's a
Yes.
musician and so for the 90s, you got to make him cool and you got to make him a video game designer, and he's making a cartoon version of the 101 Dalmatians video game. That's just not selling because he needs a better villain. That's what that little kid said.
That was funny. That recurring bit was very silly, but I liked it.
Yeah, so we've got the puppies being born as the next scene.
15 puppies. It's a lot of puppies. 14, but Lucky comes back to life.
Lucky does come back to life.
Lucky, just his little nose. He's so small.
When they were doing it, I did feel like that was part of the movie where I did get the same kind of feeling come back from the cartoon version of it. He even has like the 2 fingers and he's like petting the dog in the same way that the cartoon does. And so that gave me a little bit of that, like that feeling. I remember it vividly.
Yeah. It was almost shot for shot. Like, I know it wasn't, but like the nanny is like really anxious, like 14 puppies. And it was like screaming from the other room. And then it's like the rain in London and the lightning. It's like, it is very like emotionally inducing. And because you remember it from the cartoon. And it is very good. Like that scene is like, again, almost like a copy paste from the cartoon. And that's maybe like the best part of this movie.
Yeah, I agree 100% because it gave me that feeling. I was waiting because I had not seen this version of this movie before. I was waiting for other things to happen. Like especially with the dogs later in the movie that didn't happen. And I think that probably led into my disappointment in this movie a little bit. So, but we get the 15 puppies being born, and we have Horace and Jasper just peeking in through the window, being like, "Oh yeah, those babies are born."
Yep. Cruella marches in and she's like, "I will buy all these puppies from you, $7,500," which I've done the math. It's not that great, but even for 96. But she's like, "I'll buy all the puppies." And then she's like, "Wait, where are their spots?" And they're like, they're not going to get the spots until a couple of weeks later. And she's like, "Well, I'll buy them all from you." It's like, "What are you going to do with 15 puppies?" And she's like,
"None yet."
None yet. But she knows that they're not going to sell her the puppies because Roger does not like her. So she just gets our 2 henchmen to steal a couple of weeks later, because the puppies now have their spots, steal all 15 of the puppies. They break into the house while the couple, as well as Pongo and Perdita, are on a walk. They shove the nanny in the closet and they just kidnap all those puppies and run out.
Now, what would you do? Okay, let's just say you're Anita and you sell those puppies to Cruella. And then a week later, she is wearing a coat made that has spots on it and everything.
Yeah. I mean, it is wild that, because it takes maybe another 3 scenes after the kidnapping for Anita and Roger to realize what Cruella wants to do with the dogs. And like, genuinely no clue. Jess is like, "What a weird lady wanting 15 puppies. That's crazy." Anyway.
And firing Anita. Also, like firing Anita because she will not sell her the puppies. Yeah.
And just doesn't occur to anybody until like 3 scenes later that that's what she was going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that took far too long for you to put 2 and 2 together. Especially if you're working for her, you're probably working with fur.
Yeah. Like, she is just talking about, oh my God, their fur is coarse when they're older and it's soft when they're puppies. Like,
to give maybe a little grace, which there's no reason to, but you said it earlier. Who's wearing a dog coat? Like, right? Like,
yeah, I'm not.
No, exactly. But like, if we think about like the fur that we utilize, like we talk about this with dogs often. We don't eat dogs. We don't wear dogs. We don't, like, dogs are pets. They're friends. They are companions. That is how they have been determined in the animal world for us in the United States.
Yes.
In the Western countries. but like we know about tiger and ivory. I think of elephants, right, being hunted for sport, or like zebra rugs and bear rugs and just rabbit fur, mink,
Yeah,
things
yeah. I was
along
about
those
to say
lines that we wear.
mink, angora, or I think that's what it's
Yeah,
called, angora.
but we're not wearing dog.
Yeah,
So I can say it would not occur to me necessarily up front that, other than the fact that Cruella is very open about being obsessed with fur, it would not occur to me up front that why the hell would she buy all my dogs to then murder and wear them?
yeah.
That is a wild decision because
It's
we
a
don't do that.
yeah. It's a horror movie, just waiting to be done. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a different movie. She shows up in that, and then Nita's like, "Oh, you made my design. Like that's cool." And like
Oh,
she's
I
like,
would vomit on the spot.
"Yeah,
Like
but she
I
might not
don't.
know. She might say it's not, not real. It might be faux fur, because that's what she was going to do originally, is make it faux fur, or like that's. I think that's Anita's idea around her dress,
Yeah,
or her cape or whatever. Maybe she's not using fur at all, and it is just the design of it. So,
that you could dye the
mhm.
spots,
Yeah.
add them. Weird.
It is weird. It is very weird. But you said that you really only like Dalmatian
Yeah, I was thinking
print. You're
about
not
this.
an animal print girly.
I'm not an animal print girly, but I do love a not a polka dot, but a like asymmetrical dot, which I
Mhm.
guess I had a phone case for years that was just, I just was like, oh, I like the dots. And someone was like, listen, that's a Dalmatian print. And I was like, that never occurred to me. I just like the dots. But apparently I like that print.
Like small little cows.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your next scene?
I said hijinks at the abandoned house. The puppies are captured, and not only are the 15 puppies captured, but an additional number of litters to make up 99 puppies are captured and being held hostage in this abandoned house. And that is being watched by the two henchmen.
Yeah, you would have to have I was thinking about that. I was like, why do you need 90? You would have to have 99 puppies in order to make all that material for that dress, because they're so small.
Absolutely. Because yeah, 100%. It's difficult to think. I'm like, I don't want to think about that. But yeah, you do. You need that many puppies. So they are all in this house, and there's a whole situation where Pongo and Perdita signal to their local dogs and farm animals and friends and woodland creatures that, hey, all of these puppies have been kidnapped. We need to go find them. And they do. And in an effort to get the puppies to escape, all of the animals band together to essentially try an attempt to murder the two henchmen,
Yeah.
which they never are murdered, but they are severely injured
Yes.
in very humorous, funny ways. The dogs are cute. The raccoon is cute. The horse is cute. The woodpecker's cute. They all come together to mess with the two henchmen.
All right. So this is a period where I'm going to go ahead and ask this question.
Okay.
Does this movie come across better without the animals talking? Because that's part of the cartoon. The animals talk in the cartoon. Like all of them are sentient and talk and like have their own little system, of getting that. Does that come across well in this? Because this is where I do not think it does. Unless you have seen the cartoon movie prior to this, I would not. I would have been like, oh, what's going on? Like, I guess they do it okay, but I just want them to talk.
Not well enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, we did this with Babe. Like Babe had the talking animals, and obviously they're animated, right? Their mouths move, but they aren't animated in like a weird CGI way like we see in this movie. In a couple of spots, like the puppies falling down the slide or whatever. But I wish at the very minimum we had subtitles.
Yeah.
Like if like it's like Pongo's barking, but then underneath it's like my kids have been stolen. Like
yeah, give me something.
That could have helped, or some type of talking. It would have been funny. It would have been better, I think. I think subtitles, if you really want to keep it live action where animals don't talk in real life. I mean, animals don't pull a heist like this in real life either, but I think a subtitle would help get the vibe across, add to the humor in
Yeah.
a way, make it a little more translatable for children. Because you can get some really cute, silly jokes in there too if you really wanted to.
And that's one thing
Yeah.
that I love about the cartoon, the animated movie, is that we get to see personality of the puppies. We get to see Pongo and
Hmm.
Perdita's personality more. Um, and we just don't get the I don't get I get Whizzer. That's what I get. And that's really the only one that gets any kind of personality. It's just that
Yeah.
he pees on things, and so his name's Whizzer. But you don't get like a Rolly. You don't, which I missed. I
Hmm.
turned to you last night. I was like, wasn't there a fat dog that was hungry all the time? Like I
Yeah.
loved him.
Yeah. I'm
He's
so hungry, I can eat a whole elephant.
Yes, like that's what I wanted. And I was disappointed that we didn't even get a I know you don't want a fat puppy or a fat dog, but
Little
I
chubby
wanted
one.
I just give me a little chubster. That's all I want is a little chubster who's sad because he's hungry. Um, I don't know. That would give I think the puppies more personality, and I think that's something that I remember from the marketing of this movie that they did was
Hmm.
they gave more personality to the dogs in the marketing materials than
Yeah.
they do in this movie. They don't give you any of the puppies. Like you get a
Yeah.
little bit, but
Hmm.
not from the animated movie.
Yeah. And there is like very little, like Roger and Anita have very little play in both the cartoon and this live action remake.
Hmm.
So when your main characters, quote unquote, aside from your villain Cruella, don't have a lot of lines, don't talk a lot, don't have a lot of personality, it ends up being almost like a silent movie.
Yeah,
Like there's just dogs barking at each other and things happening, but no one is actually speaking.
yeah,
And I think it also makes the scenes feel really long. I think without any dialogue, or at least the illusion of dialogue, like this, like when they get to the fence and the bird is trying to help them out, like I'm like, what is about to happen here? And then they're like, oh, you can jump through this side thing. Like that took entirely too long.
yeah.
And if there was some type of discourse back and forth between the animals, even in subtitle form, it would have made the scene feel like it went faster.
Yes, I fully agree. I
I
that is
think we got spoiled with Babe. Not like I think this was Disney's first attempt at something like this, and really Babe was like a bit of a feat in its own, right? Like first of its kind, anime, like real live action animals with moving mouths.
yeah.
That and it was only the year prior to, I
Mhm.
guess, yeah, the year
Yeah.
prior. So I don't know if Disney didn't realize that they could do this or that this was an option. Um, but with like we have the technology, we could do this. It could be so much better. And if Babe didn't exist, I kind of wonder how if we'd feel a little bit more differently about this movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I think that this is a good turn. Obviously this movie did really well. I mean, we can't say anything about it. I mean, we're looking at 30 years later now with fresh eyes after seeing, what our technology can do now, but
Mhm.
yeah, even if they don't move their mouths, that is one of the things that they have done for, at least in the decades prior. Like
True.
you can get like what they did with Homeward Bound. Their
Hmm.
mouths don't move, but we know exactly who's talking the
Hmm.
entire time that you have that. So I think you could have done something like Homeward Bound, which we do see pop up in this movie, in on one of the television shows,
Hmm.
or television that's on the background there. So yeah, that's my other comparison would be Homeward Bound. I get a lot more personality and have a lot more fun in a movie that truly is just three animals uh, having hijinks going on, and that is the majority of the movie. And I think that comes across better than this one does. And
Hmm.
and I think if you hadn't seen the animated film, then this one is even worse to you,
Yeah.
especially for an adult, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the puppies escape or plan their escape. They do get a lot of help with the animals. We see the raccoons getting involved, the skunk getting involved at the end of the movie, the horse
Hmm.
kicking Cruella. Um, all these different animals getting involved here. Woodpecker knocking on the door. I like that part
Yeah.
with the woodpecker. But yeah, everybody's getting involved, and these puppies eventually escape. The sheep get involved at one point. I liked that
They
one.
hide them.
They hide them underneath them. That was cute.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, they help the puppies escape while these three villains or four villains that we have all getting the crap beat out of them.
Obliterated. A lot
Yeah,
of flying through the air in
a
this
lot of
movie
flying through the air. Yeah,
between the Anita and Roger at the park getting, catapulted into the pond. Cruella falling through the floor. I think
the horse
Jasper
kicks her.
gets
Yeah,
yeah, Jasper gets launched into the air at one point. So does Mr. Weasley.
mm-hmm.
Whenever he gets into the pond. Yeah, everyone is just getting just launched.
You get gooped. I think there's a lot of gooping in
A
this.
lot of
A
goop.
lot of crotch shots. Jokes on the getting lit on fire.
Hmm.
A lot of silly slapstick in this movie.
Hmm.
Stealing from a couple playbooks previously, stealing out of John Hughes's book a little bit of
Hmm.
himself with a couple of his movies that he's done. So yeah,
Yep.
and then the puppies escape, and they are reunited with their. That was another thing. Like I never felt like the puppies were ever really in danger. As soon as they left the barn, I was never worried about them. Like I knew they weren't going to get caught, but there wasn't even a like final showdown between the villain, like Cruella and the puppies, like her
Yeah.
getting them. I never felt like there was that big final showdown, and I think that could have helped too.
Yeah. And you thought there was going to be with Lucky being left behind for a second. But then Whizzer is the one who is making like some kind of final showdown situation. And then we see Lucky and he's just kind of standing there. And it was very anticlimactic in terms of like what could have been done.
And I another thing with what you just said about like Whizzer and Lucky, I was confused the whole time. I was like, oh, they're both wearing blue collars because they're
They look the same.
boys. They look the same. The only way I know that one's Whizzer is because he pees on a magazine that has Cruella
Hmm.
DeVille's face on it or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's another thing where I'm like, give me a voice. Give me a Whizzer voice and a Lucky voice. Like, that's
Hmm.
all I need. That's
Yeah.
all I want. It'll help. I promise.
Yes.
Kids will love it even more. I know they will. And then, of course, the bad guys get caught, and we end on the scene where um, Roger and Anita have moved out now that they have 100 dogs, 101,
101.
101 dogs. They live in a mansion now.
Yeah, because he sold his video game. He
Oh yeah,
changed
that was
the
right.
villain. He changed the villain to be Cruella, and the kid was like, "Sold. You're in, kid."
So they buy a castle in the middle of the country.
That is dog spotted. Did they paint it that way, or
Oh,
is that just
yeah,
mentally
I
there?
think they painted it that way.
Could you imagine? Like
No,
you,
like I
I
love
love
dogs.
like I love a wiener dog, right? That's my breed of animal. I love a dachshund. I can't fathom painting my home dapple, speckled,
Could
like
you
a
make it being shaped like a dachshund?
while iconic. No,
Could you live with 101 dachshunds?
no, I can barely live. One dachshund is a
I thought you were
diva.
gonna say I can barely live with you, and I was gonna be like, fair, fair.
No, honestly, one dachshund. I'm always like surprised when someone has like two or three, because I'm like, they're divas. They can be, depending on like what kind of temperament you get. The longer the hair, the chiller they are.
The
Uh, but
dumber they are.
no, I've met some dumb short hair dogs, but some short haired weens. But yeah, I think owning a dog is a lot. I have coworkers who um, are dating, and they just moved in together, and they both came to the relationship with animals. So she had two dogs and a cat, and he had two cats. So now their house is 3 cats and 2 dogs and 2 humans. And I'm like, that is a lot of people in a small space.
That stresses me out.
That stresses me. I think about that. Like you combining your life with someone who already has a pet. Like I think the fact that Pongo and Perdita are in love is fantastic, but like that's not like just having 2 Dalmatians is a lot of dogs. And they have 15 puppies, which is crazy. And they intend on keeping all 15 puppies. And then the other puppies show up and they were like, what's 70 something more, 80 something more.
And
like,
then the end of the movie is they're talking about their stepchildren and their stepchildren's stepchildren and their like grandchildren. Like there are so many dogs there.
And then and we did not mention they have a human baby and they're about to have a second human baby.
Yes. That's
There's a lot of people in this.
Who is scooping that poop up? Is it Nanny? Because she got the short end of the stick.
That house has to smell horrific. Awful.
You would have to have like a chicken barn. Have you ever seen what a chicken barn looks like?
Mm-mm.
They're just these really long metal barns. They're just huge, long. And that's what I imagine the kennel has to be for all of these dogs.
Insane.
Gross. Anything else scene-wise?
That's it.
All right.
That's the movie.
That is the movie. Who walks away with this movie? Who's your favorite character, or is there a scene stealer?
I said favorite character scene stealer, mostly scene stealers, are Pongo and Perdita. I think Perdita is a pretty dog. Like I know that there are multiple dogs that play Perdita, but like pretty dogs. The Dalmatians are gorgeous. That's the spots. They're very majestic when they're little cuddling. They're very cute. I just liked the dogs. I wish there was some dialogue or something with them, but that's mine.
I think first half of this movie is Cruella for me. I think she is very funny, and she says some lines in this movie that we'll get to here in a second that I think are pretty iconic. And in 2026, I can see people being like, "Yep, this is how I live my life."
Yeah, well, I said it to you when we were watching the movie. I said, if Disney wants me to hate their villains, they have to stop making them so cool.
She looks so rad.
She looks awesome with the skunk hair, half black, half white.
And she's a boss, like,
yeah,
she's very much a boss. Love her. I do think that, once it gets to the slapsticky parts of this movie, it kind of loses she kind of loses it for me a little bit, but I don't like anybody else in this movie. So Cruella is my favorite character.
Fair.
All right. So let's get to some of the quotes. I'm sure we'll have, I don't have that many.
Me neither.
But I'm sure we'll have some crossover here. So I'll let you start.
I have the iconic line from Cruella, which happens in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. She likes Anita's drawing. She's trying to like not take her under her wing, but really wants to like work with her. And do you want to stay with the company a long time? And Anita's kind of like, well, if my life permits it, unless I meet somebody and want to, I was like, girl, stand up. But Cruella said, more good women have been lost to marriage than war, famine, disease, and disaster. You have talent, darling. Don't squander it. Which I'm like, hell yeah.
Right? She's great.
Yeah, I thought she's like, hey, you're really talented. Like, yeah, like meeting somebody. I mean, like, it's so interesting. I was watching this and I was like, I feel like this is like, if a very conservative, like, person wrote a movie, like they made the bad guy a woman, a 50-year-old single woman who's a career woman, super fashionable, super wealthy, and is like, don't get married and have kids, just work forever. And I'm like, I think she's not as bad as you. I mean, she is horrific with the fur. We can like, if we just removed the fur piece of this all, she's just a regular person. But I thought that line was very funny, and I'm like, yeah, Anita, you can keep working.
It's funny. Yes, I had that one down. That I think that's my favorite, maybe my favorite line in this whole movie is her saying that. But within the same scene comes one of my other favorite lines, which is her assistant Frederick comes around, and she keeps ordering him around and bossing him around. And I thought that was really kind of funny. And she says, "What kind of sycophant are you?" And he responds with, my second favorite line is, "What kind of sycophant would you like me to be?" Which is great.
Yes.
I didn't know what sycophant meant for the longest time.
Yeah.
You learned it from a Sesame Street in the 2000s. They said sycophant on the show, and I go, "What is that?"
Now you know.
Had to look it up. What else you got?
I've got Roger is kind of reprimanding Pongo for running off into the distance and chasing after Perdita. And he says, "Fools aren't born, Pongo. Pretty girls make them in their spare time."
Yeah.
I thought that was cute.
That's a cute line. I had that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have Cruella whenever they're talking about the puppies, or she says, "The puppies, darling, I have no use for babies."
Yes, I have no use for babies.
Which I was like, iconic. What other lines do you have?
I only have one more,
Yeah.
which I didn't catch while we were watching it. I only just in like researching. It's Cruella after she has just gotten a severe beat down by all the animals, like fell in molasses and all this stuff. She says, "You beasts, I'm not beaten yet. You've won the battle, but I'm about to win the wardrobe."
Yeah. I
I was
think
like, that's good.
the line is so good, I don't think she delivers it well, and I think that's why we didn't catch it.
Yeah, she's
'Cause
also
Because
like covered in gunk.
Yes, I heard it last night, and I was like, she didn't. There's something about her emphasis on wardrobe that doesn't really give you the power behind that. That's a good line. It's a good quippy line. So yeah, I love that line too.
That's all I got.
Biggest laugh, cry, scare, or thrill for you? What moment hit the hardest emotionally?
I said for laugh, anytime someone gets absolutely obliterated flying through the air, like, I mean, the fact that it happened 5 times is like a little silly, and like the angle in which, I mean, it was almost cartoonish.
Yeah.
So stum, but whatever. But I did have a moment where I like, a little, I didn't cry, but I had like because as if I didn't know how this movie goes, when they thought Lucky was dead. They're like, "We have 15 puppies." And she's like, 14. We've lost one. And there's just a little puppy and a little towel. And they're just trying to get him to come back to life. And I'm just like, puppy. That's it. I was like, live. And I had a moment where I was like, oh, puppy. And then I was like, oh, no, wait, it's going to live. I forgot. But
yeah, they're not going to kill a puppy in front of you.
That would be insane.
In the G-rated movie.
True.
Survive. Yeah. The only part I had for laugh was when Horace and Jasper were going to meet Skinner, and Jasper says, "Whatever you do, don't talk to him. Don't talk about don't look at his scar on his neck." And then they open the door. Skinner answers the door, and Horace goes, "Oh, look at the size of that scar. No bloody wonder you can't talk, mate." And he's like, "Hold on a second, let me close the door."
Yeah. There is one moment with the two of them too, where they're in the car. Horace just fell in the pond, and he's like literally a different color. He's freezing, and he's like, "We got to turn the heat on." And Jasper's like, "No, not with how wonky the car's been. Not gonna risk it." And he's like, "I can't take it anymore." Turns on the heat, and it just goes up in flames. It's just like instantaneous.
Too much heat. Too much heat. Too much heat.
That was funny.
All right. Anything else on that one?
No.
All right. Now it's time for our most WTF ridiculous moment of this movie. I had 4.
I have 2 that came to mind. The first one, which I'm sure is one that you have. Why is there a vat of molasses in this abandoned barn?
I've got you, because I had it written down as well. I had vat of molasses, and I was like, all right, let me Google this. What is the advantage of having molasses in a barn? And so what it is they will keep molasses on hand. I don't know if they would keep it in the vat, but I don't see why not. But they will sometimes give that to farm animals, specifically like cows and horses, to help them eat. They will eat more. if they do that. So maybe in times when they're not eating as much, they will give them molasses. And we'll have it in large quantities like that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I will say, however,
it's too much.
It is an abandoned barn. There's no animals. I mean, obviously there are animals in there, but like really there shouldn't be. Everything is abandoned.
Yeah.
Like the house is in disarray.
Yeah.
Like, so the fact that that is not, I mean, obviously the viscosity, that is not molasses. That is liquid. That is, I mean,
like oil, like used oil. That's what it looked like.
But just perfectly positioned, perfectly shaped enough for a body to fall through. Vat of molasses.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I didn't like it. I thought it was silly, but I did look it up, and it makes sense. I think it's still stupid.
It's still stupid.
Because you don't need that's a big vat of molasses. You could keep molasses somewhere else covered away. Yeah. It's winter time. Molasses is probably going to freeze, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. She would like break her back falling into that thing. Yep, nope, just a ready to go tab of
a mat of molasses. So I had that one as well. My ridiculous moment is proposing marriage on the very first day that you meet, because you have shared dogs and you think, that was insane. Like love at first sight, I get it.
Do you think? What is the timeline? Because this was my other. What is the timeline for the marriage and this baby? Because it seems to happen instantaneously, but like that is absolutely the first date because their clothes are drying on the fire, like, and he's like, "Would you like another cup of marriage? I mean tea," which is bananas. And then they just make out on the couch, and I'm like, okay. But between that moment and their wedding, how long do you think it is in between?
Okay, we can do this. We can figure this out. Because it's around Christmas time when the puppies get born.
Also, how long is a dog pregnant for?
We got to look up the gestation period of a dog. But I feel like at the beginning of this movie, it's fall. What do we think in the park? Do we think it's fall?
So I would say they meet in the fall, but I think their wedding is like springish because like all the animals are outside. It's like bright. It's not raining. It's not like spring or summer. So perhaps they meet in the fall. They get engaged and married within 9 months. And then, so according to Google, anywhere for a dog gestation period is about 9 weeks.
9 weeks. So what is that? Like 2 months, essentially? Like
about 2 months. So they get married in June. And then the dogs don't get pregnant for a few months, which is probably shocking, but it's not in the course of 3 months is what I'm saying. They don't meet in like September and this movie happens in December in the same year. Still insane.
It's too quick.
There is no logic behind
They're getting married. Like I feel like they got married the next day after they've been in it. Like he asked her to marry her. They get married the next day, planned out everything. Those dogs get pregnant. She gets pregnant. They get actually conceive on the same night. These dogs come 9 weeks later. And then, I think it might. I mean, I bet Pongo knocked up Purdy real quick. I mean, that's the circle of life.
Wild.
It's real quick. Yeah. So that was my big qualms with this movie. It was like not the biggest qualms I have with this movie, but that happened a little fast. Like just because you have the same dog as somebody, do not jump into a relationship with them. Like that doesn't make sense to me. Find out if you guys have things in common. He could be a monster. She could be awful.
Right. You never know.
You never know. He's got a Dalmatian. How cool could he be? But if you're a Dalmatian person, then you probably want to end up with another Dalmatian person. It's like you wanting to end up with somebody that likes a dachshund.
You don't have to like them. You just have to get used to whichever one I bring home.
What do we have here? What else? What other
That's all I had was
ridiculous?
the marriage and the molasses.
Yeah, my other ones are ones that we've already talked about. Like skinning puppies is not a thing.
Yeah.
And shouldn't be a thing anyway.
Right.
And skinning animals essentially, and outside of in this world,
Yes.
we shouldn't be doing that. And then living with 17 dogs is too many dogs, and having
Too many
100
dogs.
or more dogs is even more dogs.
Yeah.
That's just too many dogs.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. The amount of poop and pee that is going to be there. That's too much to handle. The house is going to smell gross. Are you keeping these dogs outside? Are these outside? Are they farm dogs and they're going to live outside? See, I don't know. And they live in England.
Too cold.
It's too cold for those dogs to be outside all the time. So they're monsters themselves, and they deserve each other. All right, so it's the best music moment or score from this movie. Are there any scenes with music that stuck out to you?
It's only the end credits where they play Cruella de Vil.
By Dr. John.
I'm a little annoyed that they did change Roger's profession, because I always thought that was such a fun scene where he just writes a song about how awful Cruella is. It's very similar to the Grinch.
Mm-hmm.
and he'll just play the song in the background. His wife's like, shut up. And he's
Yes.
But I'm glad that they brought it back for at least the end credits. But really the score didn't stick out to me.
No. The only other thing I wanted to say, and thank you for chat for bringing this up, but the Aristocats is playing on the TV, just like Homeward Bound is when they switch to that. But the song "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat" is playing while they're "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat." Yeah. That's
great song.
That's the best part about the movie about dogs is the song "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat" from the Aristocats. Now that's a live action movie I'd want to see. Aristocats. I want some jazz playing cats.
I would say it's just going to look like cats.
It's just keyboard cat the whole time. All right, now it is time for he said turn that S off. Now it's time for F, Marry, Kill. Where we choose three characters and play the game. There are no animals. You're not gonna have to worry about any animals during this because they're mostly children, and that still applies. So I'm gonna go with Horace, Jasper, and Skinner.
Ooh, the bad guys.
Yeah, the three bad guys. That was a good trio. So we don't really get much personality from anybody in this movie. So
no.
It's got to be based on looks and anything else.
I think I will have to kill Skinner because he is the most evil.
I like that.
He is the one who is actually doing the bad things, and that's bad. So the other two, Jasper and Horace, are just like accomplices or guilty by association. They're still bad guys. They're they know what's going on and they're facilitating it, but Skinner's the one actually doing the bad things, and I'm not interested in that. So we're going to kill him.
I like that. And also with Skinner, I would have to learn Morse code, and I know that's not that hard to learn, but
or sign language.
He
does use Morse code, doesn't he?
He did. Yeah, he doesn't use ASL or ESL would be. He uses Morse code. I don't want to learn that. I've got plenty of other things going on that I can apply my talents to. I'm sorry.
Yes. And for the other two, I guess, and this is really nothing to do with the characters themselves, I would probably marry Jasper because even though he seems more evil, he also seems smarter than Horace. Yeah. Horace is just dumb. And I also really like House.
Yeah.
House is, I just like House.
I think
So
I think he's the handsomer of the two as well.
yeah. So I guess
No,
I'm marrying Jasper, effing Horace, and killing Skinner.
okay. You're gonna have some Jasper and Horace both kind of, we don't know what they've got down there, what's going on, because it just gets electroshocked so
True.
bad. So who knows? Mixed
Fine by
bag.
me.
Mixed bag. Who do you think gave the best performance in this movie?
Glenn Close
Yeah,
is the only one giving a performance.
it's very true.
She is. I like Cruella DeVille. At first of all, the fact their name is Cruel Devil is like, as a character, a very fun character, and I think she does a really good job. Like you said in the first half, I think that has a lot to do with the writing,
Hmm.
because the second half of the movie is just all the slapstick, all of the let's destroy these villains, and her, like, screaming at, even at the end when they get arrested, screaming, freaking out. She's still kind of funny where they're like, Cruella DeVille, and she's like, yes, and she goes, we have a warrant for your arrest. She's like, oh, is something wrong? Like, she still is delivering it towards the end. Just the beginning is just way better. But she's really the only person from this movie. And my, like, when I mentioned to my mom we were watching 101 Dalmatians, she goes, oh, with Glenn Close, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
everybody remembers her. Yeah.
exactly. It's iconic. It's great. Is it really great? No, but I mean, with from what I have to pick, she's it.
Yeah, I think my runner up is honestly probably Mark Williams as Horace. Um, yeah, like I think he's the next best because he delivers such
Hmm.
funny lines and a couple moments, especially
Hmm.
when you're talking that end scene when they're in the back of the paddy wagon or whatever, and she's like, "You guys took gold, silver, and bronze in the Moron Olympics," and he's like, "Who got the gold?"
Who got gold?
Like I thought he was really funny.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I think poor Jeff Daniels and Jolie Richardson, who I know are better actors than this, like it just felt like they were so boring in this movie and
Yeah.
didn't really. And why did Jeff Daniels dye his hair? That's not his hair color. That made me mad. He dyed it brown, and it was weird. It was not even
I
a
don't
good
know.
brown. It's too bronzy. Too bronzy.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's the best performance, I think. All right. So if we wanted to recast these movies for either 1996 or 2026, what would you do?
I so for 96, I you told me that Anita's sister is Natasha Richardson
Hmm.
from the mom from Parent Trap, and I love her. So if I had to do a recast, I'd maybe throw her in there. But again, the movie's kind of so meh that I really don't want to put her in there. So that's all I had thought about for 96 is just
It's
swapping her out for her sister.
it's funny. I just put down Dennis Quaid and Natasha Richardson. I was like, they could do it. Let's
They
put them
could.
in
I
there.
would watch it.
And then why do we make Roger American? Because of the video games or whatever? Like we could Hugh Grant is there to play that role in 96.
He was offered it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and said
So
no.
yeah, which I mean, this was right after 9 months where he had his whole meltdown. So I don't
Yeah,
think that would have been the right choice anyway.
yeah.
Um, I do have a 2026 though.
Give it to me.
So I think Sarah Paulson would be a good Cruella.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Because I think of her in like American Horror Story. Not that Cruella. Wouldn't it be wild if we had like a Ryan Murphy like Disney villain TV show that is American Horror Story esque, but
Mm,
with Disney villains?
you should pitch
Pic-
that.
Picture it, Sicily. No, I want like horror Disney. I don't, not really because I wouldn't watch it, but I like the concept of it
I
because some of
do.
these villains are really dark. Like I think about Gaston a lot
Mhm.
being like
Ursula.
Ursula's crazy, but like I think of Gaston being like a genuinely bad, like he's a human, which is like he's not a mythical creature, he's not a sorcerer or like Jafar or a
Mhm.
sea witch like Ursula. Like he's just a man who didn't get his way, and that is terrifying.
Mhm.
Like, and he is about to murder the beast and take Belle against her will. That is a scary dude. But I don't know. Anyway, I think Sarah Paulson will be a cool Cruella.
No, I like that a lot. That's a good one. And I honestly love your idea of making adult Disney American Horror Story. There's
Yeah,
opportunity there. Just
yeah,
be okay with your characters being a little darker, you know?
yeah. Because they can be. I
Yeah.
doc. I very distinctly remember like watching I was an adult watching The Princess and a Frog for the first time because that came out in like what 2010, 2011.
Mhm.
Uh, I remember feeling like genuine fear for Dr. Facilier and being like, oh, that because it's like the voodoo stuff, it's the dark magic, and that already has its own little like scariness to it for me. But like watching him be dragged to hell,
Oh yeah.
literally, I was like, ooh.
That happens
So
in the movie Ghost and the terrified me for years. So, very similar thing. Like
yeah,
shadows and all this stuff. Yeah, it's scary. It's scary.
yeah.
That was your only 2026?
That is literally it. I don't really want this movie remade.
Yeah. I said, and maybe this one's too on the nose, Helena Bonham Carter as Cruella
Mm,
DeVille.
that's fun. I like
Yeah,
that.
she's got the hair.
She'd
She can
kill
do.
it.
She'd kill it. She'd be great. And then I said Tom Hiddleston and Emily Blunt as the boring Roger and Anita.
I like that.
I've been watching Loki, so that's why Tom Hiddleston's on my mind.
Ooh, what about
John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Cause like he kind of can I would say he's a Roger.
Yeah,
Like in a cartoon Roger's a blonde, but he
I
could pull it off.
I think John Krasinski looks more like cartoon Roger than.
I
And he,
agree.
yeah, I think he could do it. That's good. All right, now it's time for some fun facts, behind the scenes stories, production trivia. Did you know? What did you not know about this movie that you learned?
I learned that there were 230 Dalmatian puppies and 20 adult Dalmatians used during filming.
That's too many dogs.
There's so many puppies. Could you imagine just
I mean,
230
if
puppies?
they were just like laying on top of me, that's heaven. I was talking about not wanting that many dogs, but I don't want that many dogs to own. If there were
Yes.
100 dogs and they were just attacking me with love, I'm all about it.
Mhm. Absolutely.
What else did you
Uh,
learn?
you want me to keep going?
Yeah.
Glenn Close is allergic to tobacco, which I didn't know you could be allergic to tobacco. So she's smoking herbal cigarettes throughout the movie.
Yeah. Which honestly is kind of the way that all movies go nowadays.
Yeah.
But
It
not
was
during that one.
also, speaking on more about the cigarettes, this is one of Disney's last films to feature cigarette smoking before they officially banned it from their films in 2007.
Yeah. I even made a mention of this last night. I said this movie would not be rated G
For
just based
smoking.
on the smoking alone. It would
Yep,
be rated PG for that.
absolutely. Um, oh, this has to do with the spelling. Maybe you saw of Dalmatian because
Mm.
you were like spelling Dalmatian is dumb, and I was like Tion. And you're like, no, it's Tian. Because Dalmatian dogs originally come from Croatia and the southern coast specifically, which is called Dalmatia.
Oh,
Dalmatia. So that's why they're Dalmatians with an A because they're from
uh,
Dalmatia.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I did not know that
I
until
didn't either.
doing some research. And the other ones that I have left are about John Hughes. So which I'm
Yeah.
assuming that you have those as well if you want to go for it.
Yeah. The only one I wrote was that John Hughes, who wrote and produced this movie, made more money from this movie than any other movie in his career. That includes Home Alone, which is one of the was for the longest time one of the highest grossing films of all time, because his contract gave him a piece of the merchandising profits. Taking a little page out of the what's his name book, George Lucas book, who was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep these merchandising rights, and
Yep.
it just raked it in for Star Wars toys. So in the same vein, John Hughes did
Mhm.
this. So pretty cool.
Yep.
What was the other John
And
Hughes one you have?
that Horace and Jasper are based on Harry and Marv from Home Alone,
Yes, very much so.
which
And you can
he
tell
also
it's,
wrote.
yes, very thick with the Home Alone in this.
Hmm.
Very thick.
This is
Filmmaker.
like 10 movies shoved together, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Filmmakers rub Jeff Daniels' face with raw hot dogs in order to get the puppies to lick him on cue.
Yeah.
Cool.
They did that with all of the actors too. Like
Yeah.
if there's a dog licking a human, there is some type of meat juice.
I just like to think of humans as meat juice, right?
Yes.
Just bags of meat juice. The video game 101 Dalmatians Escape from DeVille Manor is featured in the scenes from Roger's finished video game at the end of this movie. And the only other one that I have was that Glenn Close insisted that she be the person that falls into the vat of molasses and not use a stunt double. Very method of her to fall in that vat of molasses. Do all that.
She also insisted that all of her outfits be faux fur.
Yes, obviously, too. Like,
well, on. I mean, yeah, oh yeah, but I think they wanted to use real fur.
That's insane.
Again, method. I don't know, but wild.
Anything else?
No.
Like a fine wine and dish, if you could pair this movie with another movie for a double feature, what would you choose?
I have a lot. I have a lot of the like obvious ones. 102 Dalmatians, which is the sequel. 101 Dalmatians, the cartoon that is based off of. Cruella being the like the Maleficent Disney remake villain movie with Emma Stone. You and I both said it when we were watching it, especially in the beginning. It was giving me Wallace and Gromit vibes.
Yeah.
Just the fact that which we never revisit, by the way, that there are all these little inventions that the dog can help. Like Pongo helps out Roger constantly with, like, he can open the door with the button, and he helps with the coffee and all these things. And that's just never a thing ever again, other than the opening scene, but whatever. So Wallace and Gromit. I also thought The Devil Wears Prada.
Yep.
Because, a high fashion asshole of a boss just destroying your personal life. And I also, solely for the Glenn Close of it all, Wake Up Dead Man.
Oh, yeah, Wake Up Dead Man.
We just watched Wake Up Dead Man. Glenn Close is in that movie. I think these are the only two movies that I've seen with Glenn Close in them. So
I love it.
And she's got a great role in Wake Up Dead Man. So I was like, if you just want a Glenn Close-a-thon, that's what I would pick.
I like that. And on top of that, I would say Fatal Attraction. If you're really wanting to get some good Glenn Close, crazy Glenn Close, Fatal Attraction comes to mind. I'm sure she drew on that to get as crazy as Cruella DeVille is in this. So definitely would pair it with that. I had Devil Wears Prada as well. Home Alone was an obvious one too. Beethoven, another movie about a dog that doesn't talk, that has so much more personality than this movie. I love that. So, all right. Anything else, please feel free to put it in the chat. If you can think of anything, we'd love to know what you think would pair nicely with this movie. Now, let's get down to our rewatchability rating. On a scale of 1 to 5, how likely are you to throw this on again?
I said a 2.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it a 1 because I was excited to rewatch this. Again, this was very much so part of my childhood. Anything Disney really, but if it was on in the background, I wouldn't be mad about it. But I'm not choosing maybe to watch it again anytime soon or ever.
And while you gave it a 2, I give it a 1. I do not want to watch this movie ever again. I think I would rather just watch the cartoon.
Yeah.
The animated film. Yeah. So I give it a 1, even though a 2 is not much better. But all right. If you graded it overall from 1 to 5 stars, what would you give it?
I was kind of in between a 2.5 to a 3. I did not dislike this movie as much as you did. One, because I knew it already. And there's a nostalgia factor for me. I don't remember what movie we watched recently that I gave a 2.5 to. That it was because I was thinking about movies that I gave 3s to, and I liked that one less. But I was like, I don't think it was bad. It was like I put that on for a kid.
Yeah.
If there was a child that I know, like Violet was like 3 or 4 years old and she wants to watch a movie with puppies, I could throw that on and be like cool with it. You
Yeah.
know, I think I agree with you. I'd rather pick the cartoon. But I don't think it was that bad. So somewhere between a 2.5 and a 3.
Yeah. Okay. I give it a 2, which I think is even a little bit high for me.
Mhm.
I could certainly go a little lower. I just think it's so long. I think there are too many parts where it's boring. I think there's not a lot of personality there, and we have people in roles that I'm just like, you could have put plain Jane and John in that role, and we wouldn't have noticed any different. Didn't need to be Jeff
Yeah.
Daniels and Jolie Richardson. They do something better with their time. But that's my score. I'm sticking to it. So
Right.
if you like it, great. That's what movies are about. You liking movies and some other person not liking those movies. It happens to me literally all the time. I will love and praise a movie and give it 5 stars, and somebody will be like, that's a 1-star movie, bud. So happens to me literally all the time. Alyssa, thank you. Thank you for being my partner for this villain month. That's nothing to say you're not a villain. I'm not saying you're
Yeah.
a villain yet. But thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking movies with us as always. Before we wrap up, can I get one recent movie recommendation from you or anything else that you'd like to recommend?
Absolutely. The Drag Race is on. There's a new season of Drag Race airing live, if you're interested. But one movie that I would give is probably a movie that a lot of folks have already seen, but Moonrise Kingdom. I have a list of movies that I need to rewatch because I've seen them once and I remember loving them, and then I never watched them again. And it's been almost like 10 years for some of those movies. So Moonrise Kingdom was on that list, and I was like, yep, it's just as good as I remembered it. It's cute, it's funny, it's Wes Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad we rewatched that one. And
Yeah,
if you haven't watched it in a while, give it a watch again. It was good.
I think I am glad that I rewatched that movie as well. While I don't know if it would move up my Wes Anderson rankings that I've had previously, I think I enjoyed it more on this rewatch than I had the other times. It had been a while since I've seen Moonrise Kingdom, and so really glad to watch it. And felt like I got a little different perspective from it this time around, which
Mm-hmm.
that happens, and that's a good thing. When a movie can do that and you get something different out of it every time you watch it, I think that's a good movie. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, if you want to keep that conversation going, you want to talk about the movies that you're watching, you can join our Discord server. We talk in there a lot, or try to talk in there a lot and be funny. And we'll have votes in there about some of the stuff that we're going to be doing. Like we just had a vote on what movies we're going to be watching, maybe as our extra credit movies for this month or the coming months. You can also follow us on Instagram. That's where I post when we're going to be having these. So if there are any changes, anything, that's going to be on the Instagram feed. Or you could check out the letterbox to see what I've been watching lately and keep up with me that way and see my reviews. I try and write reviews, even if they're dumb, anytime that I watch a movie. So do check that out. Go to the link tree and access those links. Follow us. Do whatever you want. Don't mind. Doesn't matter to me. We're killing it here. We're going to do this no matter what. So we'd rather you enjoy it and come along with us. And next week, we're going to be continuing our theme of villain era for kids with probably the darkest movie on our list of these. It is Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Alyssa's going to be joining me again next week.
I'm so excited.
I am pumped for this movie. I have not seen it in a while, so I'm really looking forward to this and talking about the villain in that movie. We'll be live Sunday, January 18th at 8 p.m., so mark that down. And look in the, if there are any changes, we'll let you know. Get your finger out of there.
Sorry.
But that's it for 52/1996. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all the subs and follows and all that stuff that you guys do. We'll see you next time. Bye.
We spun the We spun the reel through desert storms and courtroom cries. Love letters burned, planes went down, truth hid behind the lies. From snowbound crimes in Fargo streets to agents running wires, we laughed with Gilmore, screamed in masks, lit theaters on fire. It's 52/1996, let the credits roll tonight. Good movies, bad movies, all of them in the same rewind. 1 year, 1 week, every frame gets its time to shine. We'll see you next story on 52/1996.